you did was get laughed at. You could go backtrack, but you never get cash back. And they told me I'm half black, but I'm white as a lab rat. With a mic and a gas mask and a life for your trash ass. And I get the last laugh, gonna fight if you back.
Welcome to the Get Real podcast. I'm Austin, your host, and today we're going to break down the trade deadline, more specifically, most of the trades that went down. I will not go over every single trade, like the Zubac trade or trades for like cash considerations. I'll go over basically the main pieces of what happened these past 48 hours, because a lot went down. Because, Wednesday, the day before the trade deadline, they're already tied with last year's amount of trades, which was 19. And then last minute today, recording on Thursday, the day of the trade deadline, it was just constant go, 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 a lot of last minute put-ins, a lot of last minute surprises, a lot of rumors. Spoiler alert, we all know Anthony Davis did not get traded, but that doesn't mean there's not other trades that need to be covered. So I'm going to go ahead and cover all of them here. Thank you guys for listening. Let's get into it. So the first trade we're going to break down, and this will lead to another trade later on, was the Bucks and Pistons Thon Maker for Stanley Johnson. I thought, okay, you know what, not bad. You're giving two kids that aren't really fitting well with their current situation. They just need a new start to get some consistent minutes, especially in Thon Maker's case. We'll tie back to that later because those pieces are also traded in a separate deal. Lakers trade, now I'm not going to try to pronounce this European kid's name. I butchered it last time. I'm going to spare y'all from that. I'm not going to even try. But y'all know which one I'm talking about. He was a young kid, second-round pick, and they combined him with another second-round pick for Reggie Bullock. Seemed kind of a surprising trade to me in the sense that this kid killed it. He's like a 6'8" guard. He's about shooting guard. And he killed it in the Summer League, I thought. And I thought, okay, you know what? He's a cheap guy. I'm surprised he didn't play more of this season. He showed a lot of promise. Played in Kansas for 4 years. Just real surprised to see them make that move for Reggie Bullock, who's a solid 3-and-D shooter. So it's a good move for the Pistons because you're getting a pick there in the process and a young player. Third trade is the big one. Philly, Clippers, Tobias Boban-Marjanovic, Mike Scott for Landry Shamet, Wilson Chandler, Muscola, and a 2020 first, and a 2021 Miami first, and 2 second-rounders. So now Philly has their kind of big four, with Tobias Harris being their power forward. That really works for them in the sense that it really spreads the floor, gives them consistent shooting. You can't really double team them. You can't really double team anybody on that starting five because now you have Simmons at the 1, Redick at the 2, Butler at the 3, Tobias Harris at the 4, and Embiid at the 5. So you only have like maybe 1 or 2 guys that have kind of trouble shooting. That's pretty damn good. I don't know who you double in that situation. Now, at first I was concerned for the lack of depth because I like Landry Shamet. He was a really big guy for Philly coming off the bench, especially with Markelle Fultz not really panning out. Fourth trade is Wayne Ellington and Tyler Johnson traded for Ryan Anderson. I thought this was curious for the Heat perspective. I'm not really sure why they wanted to push it. The contracts are basically about the same in terms of length and the amount with Ryan Anderson and Tyler Johnson. Ryan Anderson's not even playing. The Suns can at least use Tyler Johnson as a guard or a point guard just for the meantime before they replace him with someone else to run out there with Booker. So I get it. They didn't keep Wayne Ellington. Phoenix, they just went ahead and bought him out. So now he's looking for a potential team to compete with going forward. Number 5, it was the Bulls trading Portis and Parker, Bobby Portis and Jabari Parker for Otto Porter Jr. And this one, I never even saw coming because we see Otto Porter rumored for the Kings and other competitive playoff teams like potentially San Antonio. But, Portis is fine. Jabari Parker is basically filler because he's not even playing with the Bulls. I like it for Chicago in the sense that they finally get a good young wing that matches up with the rest of the kids on there. So now you got Zach LaVine, Chris Dunn, Otto Porter, Louis Markkanen, and Wendell Carter Jr., and they're about to buy out Robin Lopez. So they got a core 5 of young kids, which is solid. I just wonder if that means they know they're not going to be players in free agency because it's a heavy amount of cap coming with Otto Porter in that contract. Number 6 is a 3-way trade. Burks and a second-round pick to the Kings. Shumpert, Nick Stauskas, and Wade Baldwin to the Houston Rockets. Markieff Chris, Brandon Knight, and a pick from Houston to Cleveland. And then the Houston eventually traded Stauskas and Wade to Indy for a pick. So, I'm surprised Houston didn't do more. They got a solid 3-and-D guy in Shumpert who he can be invisible at times, but he also gets times where he gets really hot. and role players in that D'Antoni system tend to shine. I'm kind of surprised they didn't keep Stauskas. He was kind of lighting it up at the beginning of the year. So Stauskas has been traded like 3 or 4 times during the season alone. Burks in a second to the Kings, not bad, a good wing for them, and they also get a pick out of it. And then Cleveland gets a first rounder that's protected. I think it's top 20 protected. Markieff Chris, who's a young forward, and Brandon Knight as filler. Not a bad trade all the way around, good for Cleveland. They're taking picks of young guys, they're kind of building for the future. Just haven't yet gotten rid of Kevin Love. Maybe that'll come in the offseason. Number 7, you got Zach Randolph and Justin Jackson for Harrison Barnes. Now, people thought that the Mavs just got rid of Harrison for nothing, that it was a bad move, they could have gotten more. I disagree from this sense, that now, if they renounce a lot of their free agents, they can have over $30 million ready to go in the offseason, which means now, if they are able to court a max free agent, they have a big 3 now with Porzingis, who's said to take the qualifying offer, or maybe they'll sign long-term, who knows. But yeah, Porzingis, Luka Doncic, which is just, that's a good duo in itself. But now add a third piece, maybe Cousins. Maybe they spurn Kyrie Irving, as unlikely as that seems. Maybe Jimmy Butler, I don't know. Chris Middleton, it's not bad either. Dallas has a chance to form a big 3 during the offseason, where just last season and this season they're a lottery team. But that's a quick turn of events for a team that was just thought to be rebuilding for the next 3 to 4 years. Really, really ballsy move by the Mavs front office to just go get those guys, picks be damned, and just making a move for it. I like that. I dig that from them. So number 8 was Nikola Mirotic for Stanley Johnson, a guy who was traded early, as I mentioned, Jason Smith, and 4 second-round picks. First glance, I thought, what the hell are the Pelicans doing? You could have gotten Mirotic for someone else. I know a lot of teams were in the running for him, but I guess those 4 second-rounders did it for him. I guess 4 second-rounders kind of equals a first if you trade up, put them all together, however you play it. Not terrible. I was just surprised the return wasn't more. Number 9, James Ennis traded to Philly for a second-round pick. Another kind of questionable move by Houston. Maybe they're trying to save some money to be under that heavy tax for them. I get that to an extent. But you're just giving away these wings like Stauskas and Ennis, who's a great 3-and-D. I don't know about great. Very solid 3-and-D player. He'll be great for Philly as a reserve. It was just something instant coming. I thought they'd get all the help they get and not give away pieces to save money. And now you have number 10, JaMychal Green and Garrett Temple for Avery Bradley. Another great move by the Clippers, who got a good return from Tobias Harris in an earlier trade, who was an expiring contract and got a sweet amount of picks. And now they're getting rid of Avery Bradley's future contract, future money, for guys who can help compete now, but still save them some money in the long run so they can go after get more cap space going forward. And I didn't say this earlier with the Tobias Harris trade. With all those picks, you can either trade for a star on another team that's, not happy, like a Bradley Beal potentially, or you can use those picks to move Gallinari, who is owed about $20+ million next season, and now have really significant space for maybe 2 max free agents. So there's a lot of ways the LA Clippers can handle this, and all of it is just they have a lot of options. And I think they're one of the top dogs to come out of this trade deadline. Next trade, number 11, we got Marc Gasol, Jonas Valanciunas, Dalen Wright, CJ Miles, and a 2024 second rounder. So I questioned this trade at first just because I wasn't sure how Marc Gasol fit into the scheme of this Toronto team, just because Ibaka moving to a full-time center really opened his game. Will he be as effective coming off the bench? I get the reason why, because now you're kind of getting off of Valanciunas' future contract, because it's rumored that Marc Gasol will opt out, which I'm assuming he will just to gauge the market. So you get kind of a semi-star Marc Gasol, because he's getting up there in age. He plays great defense, moves the ball well, and can pop a 3, but hits about an average clip from 3, about 35%. Solid. Not bad. Might be very good for Kawhi in the pick and roll. It's not a bad move. I feel Toronto felt like they were compelled to make a move just because Philly and other teams in the East did, and now Philly's really rounded out their rosters. Now they feel like, damn, we have to do something. Not bad. We'll see how the fit goes. Maybe Marc Gasol will have a better attitude now that he's actually winning again. And last but not least, we have Markelle Fultz for Jonathan Simmons and a 2020 top 20 protected OKC pick first that the Philadelphia 76ers had, and a second-round pick. So obviously that's not the perfect haul for what you get when you traded up for the number 1 overall pick when you got Fultz. Things just haven't worked out. I don't know if it's more of Fultz's problem. Philly has a lot of bad history with rookies in terms of injury. Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons, Jrue Holiday's been injured for them, albeit I don't think he was a rookie. Just almost Nerlens Noel. All their young guys have gotten hurt under this team for like 5 years straight. Their pick this past year, he got hurt in the preseason. He hasn't even played a game yet. So I don't think the patience was there. I think there's problems on both sides. Either way, good for Markelle Fultz to have a new place where he'll have a fresh start with low expectations in Orlando and be the point guard if he gets it together. And also good from Philly in the aspect that they finally got a bench now. Now they have James Ennis, Jonathan Simmons, TJ McConnell will be back to being the backup point guard, very solid backup. Amir Johnson at the 4, debatably, maybe Boban at the 5. If they make one more move for like a 3 or 4 player at that position, they'll be sick. So now they got a good starting 5 and some solid depth. So those are all the trades I feel like covering. Again, there were other trades that happened, like Richardson, Malachi, or whatever his name is, from Toronto for cash considerations. I didn't feel like covering those trades. I just feel like covering the big ones today. Overall, this is a more entertaining trade than I think many of us were anticipating. I kind of thought it'd be kind of slow with nothing really going on. The offseason looks promising with AD not being traded. What happens there? So there's a lot of moving pieces here. Everybody's going for it in the Eastern Conference to go to the finals. Philly's boasted up the roster. So has Toronto. Surprisingly, the Celtics didn't get into that. So very interesting stuff. Always very exciting. What do you guys think of the trades I just listed? What do you think it means? Is Philly really in contention now? Do you have them come out of the East and in the finals? Did Toronto make a smart move trading for Marc Gasol? What do you guys think about what happened these past few days leading up to the trade deadline? I always like hearing what you guys have to say. If you're new, subscribe the video if you enjoyed it. Let me know what you guys think for a future video. I always enjoyed talking with you guys in the comment section. As always, this has been the Get Real Podcast. Thank you.